Thank you, Doctor. It was nice talking with you.
Looks like more trouble down at the ford.
Come on. Tom, you'll be killed.
Come on, Tom, get up.
Let me through. It's my brother. Tom. Tom.
He's still alive. We better get him up to my office. Somebody give me a hand.
It's no use, Doc. Barstow's got them all too scared to move. Maybe this'll change his mind.
Wham, don't. That won't do any good.
Let go. He shot my brother.
That's a lie. It was self-defense. Everybody around here saw him reach for his gun.
I suppose you'll say he started the fight.
You've gone too far this time, Barstow. Speak up, somebody. If we can prove that this coyote threw the first punch, he'll do the rest of his explaining in jail. Say, what's the matter with you folks? Are you going to let Barstow and his conniving friends run this whole town?
You're an old man, Doc, but you ain't gonna get any older if you keep talking that way.
Maybe I'm not interested in living to be 100. You've run 4 men out of this town and shot another in the last month. And I aim to find out why. And I know just the fellas to help me do it.
Stick 'em up, Doc. I got you covered.
Wild Bill Hickok and Jingles. Gee, it's good to see you. Say, what do you mean sneaking up on a fella like that?
I just wanted to see how much life you had left in you, Doc.
Well, I'm not so old that I can't take you across my knee and warm the seat of your pants like I did when you were a sprout. Yes, and that goes for you, too.
Now, just a minute, Doc. You got so much energy. Why ain't you out curing somebody's measles or tending a sick horse instead of sitting around a big, comfortable office?
Well,
like
you
this?
sit down here and I'll tell you why. You know, it took more than a case of measles for me to send for you two.
What's the matter, Doc? You got an epidemic?
The worst kind. It'll take 6-gun medicine to stamp it out.
Well, that's what I was afraid of. What is it? Bank robbery, stagecoach holdups, or rustling?
You see, at first, I thought it was just plain old-fashioned orneriness. A blacksmith by the name of Luke Barstow moved into town and started pushing people around.
Anybody in particular, or does he just like to make trouble?
Well, little of each, I reckon. Leastways, he always picks on somebody that has some fine land here in the valley. And after a couple of good shellacings, they take the hint and clear out.
All of them?
All except young Tom Hardy.
Well, what happened to him?
Barstow shot him. He's in the hospital in Kansas City.
Well, that's the trouble. Nobody sends for us till the dam's broke.
I don't follow you, Doc. If you know Barstow shot a man, why hasn't something been done about it?
It isn't as easy as that, Bill. You see, Barstow picked a fight with young Tom and then made it look like he shot him in self-defense when the boy went for his gun.
Did anybody see this happen?
Oh, 6 folks, but they're all too scared to talk. I tell you, Bill, there's more to this than meets the eye.
And it's up to us to find that out. The only problem is how to watch Barstow without him catching on.
Oh, I've got that figured out already.
Are you the blacksmith around here?
What do I look like? The schoolmarm? What's on your mind?
The sign says you're looking for a helper. I reckon I'm it.
You? A helper? A blacksmith? Why, you don't look strong enough to pound a nail through a fresh cream puff.
Oh, no. Back in East Sidelia, you folks say I'm the best horseshoer they ever did see. Fella even wrote a poem about me. Under the spreading chestnut tree, the village smithy stood.
All right. I'll take your word for it. Here. Let's see you go back there and shoe that big bay.
Shoe the... No, you don't. That ain't no horseshoe.
What is it?
Horseshoe?
All right, now you're convinced. Go back and put it on that big bay.
Hello, nice horsey. Nice little horse. Would you like Uncle Jingles to put a nice new pair of shoes on you? Would you? Mr. Barstow, I think this horse would rather go barefooted. Would you like a nice new pair of jeans? Mr. Barstow! He wants to go barefooted. He don't want him to do shoes.
Sure you don't want any more lemonade, Mr. Hickok?
Oh, no, thanks, Ann. I've had 3 glasses already.
I always did say that Ann makes the best lemonade west of the Missouri.
Well, you better drink up, Doc. It's probably the last time I'll serve you here. I'm moving out at the end of the month.
Why, you can't mean that, Ann. After all the work that you and Tom went to put this ranch in shape?
Well, there's nothing else I can do, Doc. It takes a man to run a ranch, and, well, until Tom gets well, I need money to pay for Tom's hospital and all sorts of bills. And Mr. Finch made me an offer, and I accepted. At least this way we'll have some money to tie us over until Tom's well enough to work again.
Finch? What would he want with a ranch like this? He's a lawyer.
Oh, it's not for himself. He's acting for his client.
He didn't mention who that client is, did he?
No, what difference does that make?
Well, we're not sure yet. There's been too many people moving out of this valley lately, and the new owners never show up to work the ranches.
You might have something there, Doc. How long ago did Finch try to buy you out, Ann?
Oh, about 2 months ago, but Tom told him we weren't interested.
And right after that, he started having trouble with Barstow, huh?
Hey, you see, Bill? Tom refused to sell, and they tried to get rid of him.
Maybe so and maybe not. Just the same, man, I wish you wouldn't sign any papers until Doc and I have a chance to talk to Finch.
Sit down, gentlemen, sit down.
Thank you.
Now, what can I do for you?
Well, like the Doc was saying, Mr. Finch, the minute I saw this valley, I knew it was just the spot to settle down in.
I thought the Hardy place would be a good buy, but Ann told us she's selling out to you.
Well, as a matter of fact, I did make her an offer. In behalf of one of my clients, of course.
Could you tell me his name? He might be willing to sell at a profit.
I'm afraid not, Mr.
Hanson. Bill Hanson.
Mr. Hanson. I'm very sorry. I was never very good at remembering names. You see, Mr. Hanson, the ethics of the legal profession are sometimes very similar to those of the medical.
You mean you can't divulge his name?
Exactly. However, I would be willing to write to him in St. Louis and pass along your offer, but I don't think it'll do any good.
Ah, that's too bad. I sure had my mind set on that Hardy place. Oh, you don't know of any other good property around here, do you, Doc?
Well, there's a Box W and a Circle 7 and the old Franklin place. Folks moved off of those 3 places in the last month or so.
Yes, that's very true. And nobody knows where they went. You see, in order to buy a piece of property, you must have an owner around somewhere to sell it.
Assuming that it hasn't been sold already. It appears to me that nobody would be fool enough just to pull up stakes and clear out without disposing of their property first.
Well, we can find that out soon enough. If any of the ranches were sold, they'd have to register it with the town clerk.
That's right. We'll go and see Sam Peters first thing after lunch.
Suits me. Well, thanks a lot, Mr. Finch. You've been a big help.
Don't mention it, and let me know how you make out.
We will.
No, it's a trick. It's about time you got back here, Wild Bill Hickok.
Hanson's the name, stranger.
Hanson, stranger, me? After all I've done for you, I've got a good notion to chuck this job and go back to East Sidalia, where people appreciate me once in a while.
Well, if you don't quiet down, you won't live to get back to East Sidalia. Where's Barstow?
He's out eating his lunch, where any self-respecting man should be at this hour of the day. And
If
another
you'd pay
thing...
less attention to your appetite and more to your work, we might learn something around here.
Like what, for instance?
I want to know if anybody goes into the town clerk's office.
Is there anything else?
Yeah. Buckshot needs a new set of shoes. I'll pick him up right after lunch.
Buckshot needs new shoes. Put on new shoes, sweep the floor, make the bed, muss the bed up, build the house, tear it down, paint the roof, put the brush. I'm getting so sick, and don't you try it, or I'll bite you back, you old dope.
Well, I see you're working for a change. Who does the horse belong to?
Oh, some stranger I never saw before in my life. But I reckon his money's as good as anybody else's.
Well, suppose you quit sounding off and earn it then. And I got 2 more horses pursuing when you're finished with this one.
Here you are, gents. Here's a record of the sale of every piece of property in these here parts in the last 6 months.
Well, thanks, Sam. That'll save Bill here a lot of trouble looking up the right piece of land.
Figuring on settling here in the valley, Mr. Hanson?
I hope to, if the property Doc's been telling me about's up for sale.
He means the Box W and the Circle 7 and the old Franklin place. They ought to be pretty good buys if the folks didn't sell out on the quiet before they left.
Can't remember hearing anything like that, but look for yourself. Here's the last 6 months' transactions.
No record of anything here. I must be in luck.
Could be, if you can find the owners and make a deal.
Or maybe they left forwarding addresses down at the post office. Let's go ask.
All right. I'm sorry, Bill. I would have sworn somebody bought up all those ranches.
There's no doubt about it. Take a look at this.
Well, that's nothing but a little ink.
Fresh ink. Did you notice anything peculiar about that page in the ledger?
No, it looked pretty good to me.
Too good. Just as though somebody had made all the entries at one time instead of day by day like on the other pages.
And if that ink was still fresh, it was done in the last half hour. Since we told Finch we were going to check the record.
That's right. Well, chances are whoever bought up the ranches had the deeds recorded all right, but can't afford to let anybody know about it for the time being.
Well, that makes sense. Now, what do we do now?
Well, first thing is to pick up Buckshot and have a talk with Jingles. I've got a hunch things are going to break a lot sooner than we expect.
Afternoon, stranger. What can I do for you?
Hey, man, just put a new set of shoes in my horse back there. How much do I owe you?
Suppose we make it an even $25.
$25? Well, what did you do? Shoe him in solid gold?
That's kind of steep, isn't it?
That's my price. Take it or leave it.
Suppose I leave it.
You'll leave your horse, then.
Now, look here, Barstow. This is highway robbery, and I won't stand for it.
Well, sit down, then.
That's enough for you.
Fight's over.
Oh, what's going on around here?
You sure picked a fine time to go to lunch.
We've had enough trouble for one day. Get the horses.
Yes, sir.
You won't get away with this. If I were you, I'd leave town while I was still in one piece.
Thanks for the tip. Now, what's a fair price for shoeing that horse?
Well, being I did all the work, I'd say $2 would be all right.
You're just $5. Keep the change.
Thank you.
Come on, Doc. Come on, Wise. Come on.
Well, there you are, Mr. Barstow. Keep the change.
Get out. You're fired.
Oh, you can't fire me.
Oh, no? And why can't I?
I just quit. Oh.
Well, this is a surprise. I didn't expect to see all you again so soon.
Well, things are breaking faster than we expected. Ann, have you still got that map of the valley your brother used to keep?
I think so. It's probably in the desk.
Could I take a look at it? I've got an idea.
Of course. Come on in.
There's the Circle 7 right at the head of the valley.
And here we are at the edge of town.
With the Box W and the Franklin place right in the middle. That mean anything to anybody?
Yeah, it means that there's 4 ranches right in a line from town right to the start of the valley, but we didn't need no map to tell us that.
What's your idea, Bill?
It's simple. Everybody knows the railroad's new line from St. Louis to the west coast will be running along the far end of the valley.
Well, of course they do. I'll bet I've written a ton of letters to those fellas trying to get them to run a spur up this way. But they turned down the suggestion.
I wouldn't bet on that. Those railroad men are no fools. If they should change their minds, these 4 ranches would be worth a fortune.
Doggone it, why didn't I think of that?
No wonder Finch was so eager to take this ranch off of Ann's hands.
Finch, now who's he?
Oh, I forgot, Jingles. You've been so busy blacksmithing that you haven't had time to keep up on the details.
He's that slick-looking lawyer. You must have seen him around town, Jingles.
I'll bet he's that dude I seen sneak into the city clerk's office today while you two were at lunch. I thought he acted awful funny.
Looks like your plan worked, Bill.
Finch fell for it, all right.
Plans fall for it, work? What's going on here? Nobody tells me anything.
Well, we haven't had time, Jingles. When we found out that Finch was trying to buy Ann's place, Bill figured that he'd already bought the other ranches.
You mean the 3 ranches that belong to the folks that Barstow run out of town?
Yes.
Huh.
Then you think that Barstow and Finch are working together?
That's right.
Then Finch must have arranged with Sam Peters to switch the pages in the town record.
But what would he gain by that? There's no law against a man buying property.
No, but there is a law that prevents the use of violence to force people to sell. Now, if we can prove that Finch bought those ranches after Barstow drove the original owners out of this valley, we might be able to call all the deals off.
That's all very well and good, but how are you going to do it?
I got an idea. But whether or not we can get away with it will depend on you, Ann.
Well, what are you doing here this time of night?
Well, frankly, I'm not so sure myself. Mr. Finch, how much do you know about Bill Hanson that Doc Wiggins has in tow?
Why, he seems a nice enough sort of a fellow. Why?
He just advised me not to sell my ranch to you. He said you'd double the price if I'd held out a few months longer.
But that's ridiculous. Without Tom around to handle the place, it'll go to seed in no time. As a matter of fact, Ann, if I hadn't always been a friend of the family, I wouldn't have made you an offer for the ranch in the first place.
That's what I told him. But he said that you have to have the property, or you'd be left holding the bag with the other ranches you just bought a few weeks ago.
Me buy ranches? That's the craziest thing I ever heard.
Well, anyway, Hanson claims that you own the Box W and the Circle 7 and Franklin's place, and he's offered to prove it.
Oh? And just how does he intend to do that?
I don't know. But he said there must be some honest records of the deeds in the town clerk's office. He'd find them if it were the last thing he did.
Looks like we're doing all right so far.
Records are probably in the safe.
I can't wait to see the look on old Finch's face when we tell him how bad we want to keep our mouths shut about those ranches he owns.
Stand back.
Where are you?
Better do what they say, Jingles. We haven't got a chance.
You bet your sweet life you haven't. Light that lamp, Finch. Well, if it ain't my 2 favorite playmates. I got a score to settle with both these gents.
You'll get your chance soon enough. That was pretty slick the way you figured out I bought all those ranches on the sly. Too bad it won't do you any good.
I don't know. We still might make a deal.
Sure, like we made with them other gents that wouldn't see things our way.
Oh, then you admit you ran them other 3 families out of here so you could buy their property for peanuts.
You catch on quick. Get their guns.
Not so fast, Barstow.
All right, Doc, let's put these crooks where they belong.
I certainly want to thank you two for doing what you did.
Finch and Barstow in jail, maybe some decent people will start moving back into this valley.
No doubt about it, especially when Jingles and I start spreading word that the railroad's building a new spur to connect this town with the main line.
Well, I give up. It must be a trick. Ain't no man alive can do that.
You mean like this, Jingles?
Great jumping horn toads. Here we go again.
Come on, Jingles.